I didn't know anything. I was trying to just play my game plan and get the birdies I knew I could get to that point. I had never played that tee shot aggressive. It seemed like a hole you didn't ever want to have to play aggressive, but in the moment, I knew exactly how to play it. Turn it off that tree with the D3 I'd been throwing all day. Just cut right inside that one in circle 2, and that putt was a moment that I'll recall forever. It was a moment where I told myself I could do it. It was the first time I feel like I actually did it with the moment as big as it was. I've been telling Nico for like weeks, like, don't run your putts in, dude. It doesn't look professional. We got to act like we know what we're doing. But in that moment, dude, I ran it in. It's just what you do, I guess. I actually didn't know who was tearing it up. I just knew somebody was. Didn't know until 18 that it was Nicholas, actually.
In my mind, everyone but the winner is like loser, so I don't really mind if I'm like 2nd or 10th. I'm losing anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my mentality there. Of course, going OB on 17 is not ideal, but I think I made the right decision to go for the birdie in that position, and I had a chance for like go for the putt and then birdie 18, but I felt like the wind was not good for me in that situation, so I just took my chance to bogey 17 and then go for the birdie on 18.
I knew at going to 18 I had more distance than Luke does in terms of how far we throw. I knew it'd be tough for him to get the birdie, so in my head, worst case, I'm going to go into a playoff, and then if he ends up messing up, I can win the tournament. With him throwing OB on that green on the second shot, obviously he went first there, and so I was able to read off of that. It actually made my decision very clear. I'm going for the basket. It was a shot I was comfortable with, about 480 over the top with a flex PD2, and put it obviously pretty close to the basket and made the putt, and that's some of the most hype I've ever been to win a tournament.
I was 100% confident I was making it through that gap. It doesn't make sense to be that confident, but I felt like it really didn't matter where I threw it. It was going through. I was going to have an upshot. And so when that happened, it was almost like confirming what I was feeling, that this was my day, that I could go for this. So I got up there, I range-finded at 375 to the tree I needed to miss prior to the green. I think it was about 90 feet past that tree to clear the green. So it was a big shot, but I thought that if I could skip off the green and give myself a putt, that I was going to bang anything I looked at. I wasn't going to let it go to a playoff with two of the sickest players ever. I mean, Nicholas Antla and Gannon Buhr in a playoff, like, please. I wanted to control what I could control and win the tournament right there.
Coming in as a defending champ, people would say, I guess you could say I played good here, but that doesn't really apply anymore with the course being completely different. Every single hole is different. I don't think there's one hole that's the same. Everything's at least changed by like 15, 20 feet in some pin positions and stuff like that. I'd say it's a better mix of shots than last year maybe. I did prefer last year's course better. I thought last year only had like 3 bad holes. I'm not like a huge fan of the woods. The tee shots are kind of weird. They're like really short wooded holes with a lot of trees in the way, and it kind of just makes it to be a scramble hole in a way. You kind of just throw your shot. The tee shot's almost like a pitch shot, and then you throw your actual shot.
Makes me a little bit concerned are the tight OBs in the woods. As a player, I think it's like a super big punishment because there could be a very big scoring separation there, even with like similar throws. But we'll see how it plays out. I think it adds a lot more drama to the game, so yeah. I'm just interested to see how everybody attacks the course. The changes are for the better, for sure.
People keep asking me that, how do you like the changes? And it's funny because like holes change. It's the whole course is different, you know, especially for the women. I think there's literally only 2 holes that are the same tee, same basket. I think it's 2 holes.
It's way different, actually. I felt like last year I was just throwing as hard as I could on every hole and then see what happens after that. Yeah. I think now you need to like think more. For example, like holes 6 to 8, you need to kind of like survive those holes. I'm not looking for a birdie on any of those holes, really. Maybe hole 7 and all of those kicks and stuff in the woods. So it's kind of random. So I play for like safe par or maybe a birdie.
Just take it on like a new course and you know, appreciate it for what it is. I think it's very surprising. I was surprised to see how much woods they used and how much work they've done. Like, I know it's been a full year, but I'm sure they weren't out here working like last March. So like how much they've done in a short amount of time is like really incredible.
Basically, the intent on several holes, including some of the new woods holes, was to either have relaxed OB or not to have OB at all. So on 18, the left side, the intent was not to have OB there. However, in the run-up to the start of the practice, the decision was made to put OB there because it was pretty rough. And so it looked like there may, you know, even be some safety hazards in there.
Kind of the shapes you have to throw are just a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily that they're like bad holes, they're just kind of interesting. I maybe would prefer something else, like maybe a little bit longer of a wooded hole with a more defined fairway or 2 fairways. I think I'd prefer, but I can definitely see like why they added it. You gotta be careful because there is a lot of OB actually in the woods this year, which definitely makes it difficult with tree kicks and stuff. So some shots I'm throwing forehand versus backhand is to purely prevent a tree kick OB. If there's OB on the right, throwing an Anheuser forehand, any tree kick just kicks OB right. So there's a couple holes that actually makes you think a lot more. I definitely try to find the safer side of the green if I can, or the safest side of a shot that makes it so even my bad shots are probably going to result in a par instead of a bogey.
I go into every round with the same mindset. And of course, the conditions could get tough out there, but they're tough for everyone. And I just try not to put too much energy into the conditions because I cannot change the wind. Mostly it just comes down to the shot that I trust the most. And typically in the narrow fairways, I trust my forehand a lot more than the backhand. So I'm leaning towards the forehand, even if the OB is on the right-hand side.
Beth at 69.
I just told myself, you just got to will this one in there. Whatever you have, just will it in there.
This man is unbelievable. This is what athletes live for. This is the moment.
I mean, I hear people talking about it. I don't really check the weather until the night before. And if it's gonna rain, I kind of get a couple things prepared, rain jacket, that kind of stuff. Then the morning of is really when I'm looking at it. Okay, how many towels do I need? I like to have like 1 towel per 3 holes so I can keep switching. If it's gonna rain all day, like probably want 9 towels in the bag and obviously an umbrella. There's not really much you can do besides be prepared. Like everyone's gonna play in those conditions, like in my division at least.
If you are worried about things that you cannot change, it's a leak of energy. I call it like this. So I don't want to be leaking my energy before tournaments. I want to be focused on what I can do and what are my best chances to like win the tournament. And I don't really worry about these things.
I'm just gonna go through every hole in my head, find what disc in my bag is gonna work best for each shot. That's going to be give me the highest percentage probability to just give me a safe circle 1 putt or a safe circle 2 putt. And then, yeah, if it gets rainy out, we're just going to, hopefully play through it. Going to go to Walmart right now and probably buy some towels.
We do react to weather as it happens, even when forecasts are like, 90 to 100%. Sometimes patterns change. We've got Seth Munsey on site, who's been overseeing our safety program. He's got a meteorologist on staff, as well as, all the same resources that NFL, PGA Tour uses. We trust in those. It does look whether we'll have an impact this week, but we'll wait and see. We are working on changes to basically make a rule change in the future, hopefully for next year, where we would be able to finish tournaments on Monday if they get impacted instead of shorten the tournament. But right now, hopefully we can get all 54 holes in. If not, I'm hoping as many as we can.
I definitely have all the shots to play this course. I've gone through it a few times. I can average 1025, 1030 golf and be outside the top 10. My body kind of ebbs and flows. I've definitely been struggling with injury, especially in my shoulder region. I think I can compete on tour if we don't have to throw 475 to clear water every hole, because it seems like that's my max range now.
I'm trending in the right direction. I think historically it's been mostly my own head. A lot of times frustration kind of gets the better of me, or I'm not trusting myself to execute the shots that I can execute, so a little bit of overthinking. I think this offseason and then coming into this season, I've made a lot of improvements in that area, so I think it's only a matter of time. If I compare now to this time last year, my ability to kind of bounce back is just completely different. And then on the overthinking side of things, this is something I even practiced toward the end of my off season, is just a better separation of the thinking and executing phases of throwing a shot. My pre-shot routine has changed a little bit, where I'm just trying to purely go off of visualization. And then once I visualize the shot, I've made all of the decisions, just kind of shut the brain off, focus on my point, and then just, send it.
I feel like this course kind of fits similar to the Waco and the ball golf course. So, my game feels great on this course as well. I feel like I definitely belong there on the lead card, and I feel like the Beast really showcases my game and kind of a place to where, one of the courses I guess I can say I feel more comfortable on. Just the technical woods, playing smart in the open, just kind of fits me. Out on the golf course, that was a little bit out of my element, but then again, if you have the tour distance, anybody should be able to compete and execute shots on a golf course the same as you should in the woods. I'm having to throw multiple angles on a disc to get it to fly that far, versus a Gannon or an Anthony Barella are one-angled shots. They can throw a hyzer on a forehand where I might have to, control the nose angle and release angle on a fairway driver to get that nice smooth turnover the way that they can just throw a forehand. So I think that's really the difference. I guess just the level of execution for the shots that we have to throw is different. They can miss a little bit and still hit the fairway, but if I miss it all, it could be 70 feet shorter or OB left or right.
Because that's another thing where if there's a lot of OB, you literally just have to stay in bounds at that point because people won't be getting the birdies then. And so as long as they're not dropping strokes, you're gaining strokes on the field.
If I was the designer, I would try to avoid OBs as much as I can. I mean, it makes it interesting on the open holes, but on the wooded holes, I think the trees and the nature should be like shaping the fairways. That's just my personal opinion.